Hello and welcome. My name is Stuart Kennedy. I work with the Miami Foundation and help run the Public Space Challenge. We're entering our 5th year of the Public Space Challenge. It's a big year for us. We'll be giving out over $1 million to public space projects this year if you take the cumulative amount over the past 5 years. So it's an exciting time. We're going to go through the basics of the webinar today. The basics of the Public Space Challenge, and just run you through it, and then we'll answer any of your questions. On the phone with me here at the Miami Foundation, we have Roshni Neslage with the Miami Foundation, Marta Viciedo with Urban Impact Lab, and Marika Lynch with Marika Lynch Communications. So the webinar content for today will go over what the Public Space Challenge is, why we created it, what if you have an idea, how do you submit. We'll give you some inspiration with some other public space projects that we've seen, and then we'll just cover important dates. Now, you'll be on mute throughout this webinar, but you can ask questions throughout the webinar, and we encourage you to do so. And the way you do that is you look at the bottom right-hand corner of your GoToWebinar box, and you'll see the Questions tab. You just type them right into that box, and then Roshni will moderate those questions at the end of the day, or at the end of the webinar. So why and what of the Public Space Challenge? 5 years ago, the Miami Foundation did some research that we call the Our Miami Report, and we saw that we were lagging behind other places in terms of access to parks for our residents in Miami-Dade County. We know the benefit that parks have and public spaces have for folks. There are social benefits, economic benefits, health benefits, tons of good things. But we know that these can be infrastructure-heavy projects, and there's a lot of need. So it can be expensive. But what we want to do is we wanted to encourage action immediately with small, lightweight projects or public space improvements that were driven by the people that know their neighborhoods best, and that's the residents. That's all of you that are on this call right now. It's the folks that walk down their neighborhood street every day or around the corner at their office and know what's lacking or what they wish was there. So the Public Space Challenge is this opportunity for residents of Miami-Dade County to engage with their place in a different way, to really put their fingerprint on their city, on creating great places within their city. When we talk about public spaces, we're not just talking about parks necessarily, but parks are a really important ingredient, and green space has a lot of great benefits. But also think about things like plazas, gathering places where people come together, like libraries, open spaces, like natural areas and the waterfront. But also your street corner, the sidewalk, the bus stop. All of these places are in the public realm. It's where people come together. And so that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about vibrant, great public spaces, and that's what we want folks to have an impact on through the Public Space Challenge. So, this goes to the Miami Foundation's larger goal of getting a great public space within walking distance of every Miamian. We want this, no matter where you are in Miami, we want you to be able to walk out your door and have a safe and enjoyable walk to a place where you can come together with your family, your friends, your neighbors, and enjoy the outdoors or indoors, but enjoy that public space. And when we say walking distance, we really mean a quarter mile. Some measures have a half mile, but we really mean about a quarter mile. That's kind of the standard 5-10 minute walk for folks to get to these places. So think about that, and think about the places within walking distance of your office or your house, or the places that you love throughout town. This is an ideas competition, so we want your ideas. They can be, we want to see your creativity, we want to see your innovation. We've had ideas that have really run the gamut from all ends of the spectrum, and Marta Viciedo will be on the webinar in a little bit to give some examples of those ideas. But think about activating a place. So that is a place that maybe isn't used as much as you think it should be. What can you invest? What can you change in that place to get people into it and make it more vibrant? Think about improving somewhere is lacking in certain things or is not kind of maintained as well as it could be, or think about those new public spaces, that empty lot or the empty street corner where you want to create a place. Importantly, anyone can apply to the Public Space Challenge, and that's really been critical to its success from the beginning. This is not just for nonprofits, it's for every Miamian to submit their ideas. So we want to hear from individuals, we want to hear from organizations, businesses, for-profits, nonprofits, government. We really want to hear from everyone. And we've had all kinds of winners in the past 4 years. We've had 14-year-olds like Noah LaFleur that created recycling containers in his neighborhood park where he played soccer. We've had Miami-Dade County commissioners win. We've had nonprofits. We've had for-profits. So really, we want to hear ideas from everyone. So if you're listening to this, you live in Miami-Dade County, or your ideas from Miami-Dade County, you are eligible. You can apply. We're investing $305,000. We love our area code, of course, the 305. So that's the amount of money that we've put up for these ideas. And we're really excited to announce a partnership this year with Target, who's come in to support the Public Space Challenge for ideas that promote healthy eating and active play for residents in Miami-Dade County. So thank you so much to Target for their partnership. So folks that have thoughts about healthy eating and active play ideas, there's an extra incentive for you to be submitting your ideas. All right, getting a little bit more into the meat of what the Public Space Challenge is. The first thing that I want to say is, if you have an idea, you should submit it. We've designed it to be very, very simple. So we're going to go through that process now, but this is the map you can see on your screen. This is where you actually go to submit an idea. If you're at a computer now and you can access your browser, I'd encourage you to go to ideas.ourmiami.org. You see the URL at the top of the screen, and you can actually follow along with us. You can see the map live right now, people submitting ideas and commenting on ideas. This screenshot was taken from just a few hours ago with a bunch of the ideas that have been submitted so far. So these are this year's ideas you can go and look at. So the important thing here is all you have to do is drop a pin at some location on this map and answer 2 easy questions. My idea to improve this place is ... so that people could ... That's it. We'll ask for some information, things like that, but if you're concerned about whether you're able to do this or how much work it's going to be or anything else, don't worry about that. Just go ahead and check it out and submit your idea. So to talk through the details of that, I'll pass it over to Marta Viciedo with Urban Impact Lab. We work with Urban Impact Lab on helping to provide education and technical assistance for folks on the Public Space Challenge, and she'll be able to walk you through this process. Marta.
Hi, y'all. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. As Stuart said, what I would like to do is go through the submission site in a little bit more detail and then hopefully provide some inspiration for your very own ideas. So again, just to reiterate, if anybody has the opportunity, if you can safely do so from your smartphone or from your computer, please log on to ideas.ourmiami.org and you can follow along as we're going through. Once you get to the website, the first thing that you'll see is some basic information about the challenge and when the challenge closes. You'll also see that there are 4 categories listed with an associated icon for each. The colored dots that's on the map right now correspond to each of those categories. As you see, there's already several submissions for each of them, and they're represented by the colors, and you can review those simply by clicking directly on them or by hitting the List Ideas icon at the very top of the screen in the purple box. One of the other things that you're going to find on this particular site, on the website, on the landing page, is a new section that's called About the Parks and Open Space Master Plan. And that's one of the most interesting, something that we're really excited about. We've partnered with the Miami-Dade County Parks, Recreation, and Open Spaces Department to really highlight some of the work that they're doing, and I'm just going to quickly cover what that looks like. On that landing page, excuse me, you can click on where it's highlighted, Parks Open and Open Space Master Plan, and it'll take you to the actual master plan that Miami-Dade County has prepared. You'll get a peek into what the vision is for our county and what has inspired the work behind Public Space Challenge and parks overall, and hopefully get some inspiration for yourself on how we can create and add more value to this plan. The Open Space Master Plan shares that very same vision that Stuart was talking about having a park within a quarter-mile or roughly walking distance of every Miami-Dade resident. So this is really a seamless connection to the spirit of Public Space Challenge. By aligning with the master plan, we're achieving two main things. We're supporting the long-term vision of a plan that's already existing and is being implemented, and we're also providing Public Space Challenge contributors with an opportunity to directly engage with some of the most exciting work happening in the county right now and for the future of our community. Talking just a little bit more about how the Open Space Master Plan relates to the Public Space Challenge, one of the ways that you'll really engage with this is with those categories that we saw listed on the website. The master plan itself has 4 layers, and those we have translated into the categories under which any Public Space Challenge submitter will categorize their ideas. And those are parks and natural areas, greenways and blueways indicating waterways, safe routes to parks, and public spaces. And that is basically it in a nutshell in terms of what, if any, changes and how there's this new addition about the Parks and Open Space Master Plan to the Public Space Challenge. So let's say that you are ready and willing and able to submit your idea or ideas, and you've even had a chance to look through the master plan, you've looked at the categories, and you're really excited. Once you're at ideas.artmiami.org, you'll select Add an Idea, which is in that green box at the lower left-hand area of the map. Once you click on that, you will see this red icon that pops up on the map. Now, I want to emphasize this. You don't ever move the icon and you can't quite grab it. What you can do is grab the map and the cursor will show up. You'll grab the map and you'll move the map to the location that you selected so that it aligns right directly with that red icon. The easiest way to do that is to really zoom in as far as you can into the map and then drop that pin exactly where you're envisioning your Public Space Challenge idea. Once you've done that, and you can see on the screen that there's a really, really zoomed in image of what that might look like, once you've selected your ideal location, you're going to go to the questions. And as Stuart said, 2 very simple questions. Well, the first one will be the title of your project. Then, my idea to improve this place so that people could. And please note that those are character limited, so very simple, short, succinct ideas of how you might be envisioning your Public Space Challenge project will take place. Once you've submitted those 2 questions, you're pretty much just ready. What's left, you've done the hard part. What's left is really easy. You're going to choose one of the 4 categories that we talked about earlier, and most ideas will generally fit into more than one category, so our recommendation is that you simply select the one that fits your idea the most. You'll be asked for an approximate location. In the past, sometimes the location on the map gets put off a little bit, so if you give us an approximate location in words, this will help ensure that we understand exactly the place that you have in mind. The 2 next questions ask for a picture or a link. As many people know, a picture really speaks 1,000 words, so we highly encourage you that you either upload an image. It doesn't have to be your own original image. It can be an image that you're pulling off that provides inspiration or really captures the essence of the project that you're submitting. You can also put a set of pictures on a website that you create yourself and then add a link. So those are the two options so that we can get a really good idea of what you're envisioning. And then finally, you'll provide some contact information, your name, your organization, your email, and your phone number. And your email and phone number will not be shown publicly. That's simply for us to contact you should we need to let you know that you're becoming a finalist. So once you've submitted your idea, you're going to see it appear on the list that shows up on the right-hand side of the screen. If you click on your idea or any other, you'll see that it can be liked, shared on social media, and people can provide comments. So don't be shy. Share your idea with your networks and ask for other people's support and input, and also scroll through the ideas and provide any support, input, feedback that you might want to with other ideas that have already been suggested. You'll also note that each idea has its own URL. So if you went and clicked on, like for instance, we have Dance Miami right now up on the screen. If you went and clicked on that, you'll have a dedicated URL just to that idea, and that just makes it easier for you to share on social media or even via email. So with that, what I would like to do is move on to talking about a little bit of inspiration for public challenge ideas, and just remind everybody on the call that we'll be taking questions about the submission process right at the end. So the first idea that we would like to talk about was the Fiesta de Aguas that just happened in Little Havana. And this team right in Little Havana, just a group of local organizations, they really brought it. They made it snow in Miami. And I'm imagining that most of you can really understand how much of a feat it is to make snow appear for a number of children in the community that clearly never see snow and perhaps have never seen snow. And they were able to play in it. They were able to get active, run and jump and use rafts and all sorts of activities. I actually went by the park that they hosted this in, and it was packed. It was amazing. They proposed activating the park with any kind of related activity, hence the name Fiesta de Aguas, and they launched it with frozen water. So over the course of the year, they'll be doing additional activations. But this is a really good example of how they brought out local families. They gave them an excuse to come out and play in a park that sometimes is underused, and they gave kids the opportunity to play in snow. I mean, who knows when they would have otherwise played in snow in Miami, of course. The next idea that we want to talk about is one that also just happened, another previous Public Space Challenge winner, which was Biscayne Green. Earlier this year, the team behind Biscayne Green converted 2 parking lots right in the center of Biscayne Boulevard into public spaces for several weeks. They turned these parking spaces into people spaces. The project included a number of different clever activations, so things like a puppy brunch, which is pictured on the screen now. And it was a really good example of how you might submit an idea that is part of a bigger project, and you might propose a specific add-on, such as that puppy brunch, to make an activation even more successful. Next up is an idea that comes to us from Cleveland, Ohio. This is a group of people that activate the community streets in this neighborhood and make it possible for people that are not available during the day or even on the weekends because of work or other commitments to have access to healthy foods while providing a space for social interaction and engagement. And this is a night market. So they essentially light up a street that is a little bit less used during this time, and they provide all these different types of activities, and again, that access to healthy food, which is really important for our public spaces and the health of our community. And then a couple more ideas. The one, again, on the screen now, this one is coming to us from Israel. And so what these artists have done in Israel is they've taken this public plaza and they've installed these giant flowers, but these aren't just any type of giant flowers. These flowers actually bloom when pedestrians gather. So during the day, as people move about, they have sensors. The flowers will open and provide shade. And you can see from the picture that the plaza doesn't have many trees. So these are really providing shade in an area that's exposed to the sun quite a bit. And in the evening, they will also open up and light up. So people are either being covered by shade or being provided with some light in a public plaza. And again, I think the most interesting part of this is that it's activated by people's movement and activity. Next up is a hammock. So I imagine the majority of people that live in South Florida, I mean, one of the things that we dream about is escaping to the backyard or to a park and hanging out in a hammock. In Governor's Island in New York, they've created Hammock Day. So they put out these hammocks and folks just come out, hang out with their family and their friends, just enjoy the public space and have a little bit of social interaction and really highlight some of the additional uses, temporary uses that a public space can have. Next up is coming to us from Philadelphia, specifically the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. And these folks took an open lot that is just sort of an empty, vacant lot in the middle of Philadelphia and turned it into an open and accessible edible garden. This can be done anywhere where there's a bit of space and some community to help build it and help maintain such a garden, and it provides access to healthy foods and a little bit of activity in an otherwise space that would just not be used and would really kind of take away from that block. And then the last one is probably my personal favorite, because who in Miami does not want the royal treatment when we're using transit? And so this is a little bit more of a commercial intervention, but they really rolled out the red thrones in this case, or red chairs, and it just makes riding transit a little bit more enjoyable. And it's just really to highlight transit spaces are also public spaces, and we can get creative and make them more fun. So with that, I am going to turn it back over to Stuart, who is going to go over some important dates, and then we'll get to your questions.
Great, thanks, Marta. All right, so we have some opportunities for trainings, for coming together. If you're interested in the Public Space Challenge, but you'd like a little help, you want to come have a conversation with us in person, you want to work on your idea, there are a few opportunities to do that. We'll have creative workshops hosted by Urban Impact Lab and the Miami Foundation coming up. You'll see the dates on your screen, March 14th, 21st, and 25th, and we've tried to spread out across Miami-Dade County, so we'll be south, north, and west. These sessions will be like, you'll get a little bit of this basic information like you're getting in this webinar, but then we'll go much more in depth in helping think through Public Space Challenge ideas, talking about examples from other places, workshopping them, and Marta and Irvance from Urban Impact Lab really run excellent workshops, and they're a lot of fun too, especially for like coloring and arts and crafts, and chocolate. And then we have, we're in another year of our partnership with Design Thinking Miami, which is a great group that actually trains folks on a practice called design thinking. So this is a more intensive workshop. It'll be a 3-hour-long workshop during which you'll get an introduction to human-centered design or design thinking, with the kind of the challenge case presented being the Public Space Challenge, and taking public spaces and turning them into something that Miamians really want to interact with and draws folks out. So this is something that they normally charge a good amount of money for, and we're bringing it to you. We're sponsoring it to give you this free design thinking training for the Public Space Challenge, and that's coming up on March 20th, so coming up soon. Tell your friends. And then the big important date is the closing date for the challenge. So April 6th at 11:59 p.m. So you have all day, the day of April 6th, to get your ideas in there. Please don't wait until the last minute. Folks wait until the last minute, and then everybody tries to click submit at the same time, and you never know what might happen. So we highly encourage you to get your idea in early, It also can benefit you to get your idea in early because then more people will see it on the website. And so Martha talked about those comments and those likes on the website, and our reviewers take that into account when reviewing ideas. It's one of the factors that they're looking at to select finalists. So it's good to have some traction out there. It shows us that people support what you're doing and like the idea. We'll announce finalists in May, and then those finalists will work through a process with us. They'll have to fill out a full proposal and a few other things, and we provide some support for that, of course, and then we'll announce winners in August of this year. All of this information, together with frequently asked questions and some other things, are available at ideas.ourmiami.org. There's actually a great permitting guide if you're worried about how to get your permits to get your public space project done. There's a whole guide that Martin Arvant at Urban Impact Lab helped us create a few years ago that can walk you through that. So here is the information that you need. Feel free to contact us. You go to ideas.ourmiami.org. There's an opportunity to reach out through that website. And we'll go to questions. So, Roshni.
Sure. So we do have a few questions that the audience has asked. The first one comes from Jose, who would like to know that if he has a friend who submitted an idea, if there's some way he can search for it instead of just going through all the dots and clicking through all of those.
Yeah, great question from Jose. So if you look at the top of the screen, there is that list the ideas. I'm just going to scroll back through this webinar. You will see the List Ideas button in purple at the top center of the screen. So if you click on that List Ideas question, you'll see all of the ideas listed out, and there will be a search box. So you can search for your friend's name or for any of the information included in his or her project, and it'll show up there.
Great. John wants to know if he can submit more than one idea.
Hi, yes, you can definitely submit more than one idea. Our recommendation is go ahead and submit, as many ideas as you feel passionate about, but if there are, 5, 10 ideas coming from the same person, it's difficult to understand which one the organization or the person is really invested in. So we want to make sure that you're submitting ideas that you intend to follow through with. So definitely, open to submitting more than one idea, but keep it to those ideas that you feel like you're definitely going to be able to pull off.
Okay, and then one of our viewers wants to know what happens with the ideas once they get selected.
Great question. Once ideas are selected, the folks that submitted the idea are off to the races and working to get their project done. So this is one of the great, fun, unique things about the Public Space Challenge, is that you get to figure out how to get this done, and you get to get your hands dirty with actually building out this project. And we've had folks that have won that have never done anything like this. They have day jobs that are busy, but they're really passionate about this idea, and either completely on their own or through help from Urban Impact Lab, the Miami Foundation, and other folks that we can help put you in touch with, get their ideas done. And it's a really wonderful thing. We see, our local governments aren't necessarily used to dealing with these kinds of interactions with individuals, for example, that are asking for change in this way. And so we think that's a really important part of the Public Space Challenge, to open up local government and those avenues of dialogue between citizens and government to get these things done. So if you win, then you get to build out your idea, and we'll be there to back you up, but the impetus is all on you.
Okay, I'm going to combine a couple of the questions we've had. So our first question is from Lucas, which is how many winners are chosen, and then Oscar wants to know who chooses the winners.
Great. Every year we generally select between 15 and 20 winners, and it depends on the ideas that come in and the level of funding that they need. So we always tweak that and kind of fine-tune it as we get to the selection. We work with a panel of experts in placemaking, in urban planning, in parks, in public spaces, and folks that know this community really well, that know Miami-Dade County really well, to help us narrow down to a group of finalists and then ultimately to the group of winners. So they are local experts and folks that know this community really well, and we don't actually reveal their identities during the selection stage so that they don't get lobbied or overwhelmed with inquiries from folks asking about their ideas.
We have another question that comes from Sarah. She wants to know what we do with the ideas that aren't selected as winners.
So the ideas that aren't selected live on our submission site. So you can go to ideas.rmiami.org, and you'll see on that About link that pops up right when you get there, links to get to see ideas from previous years. So we're building a record of, of great ideas that are out there, and we hope that folks can see them and explore them. We've seen some great examples of how beyond the Public Space Challenge this has had positive impact. There was an individual who submitted an idea in their neighborhood for a container gym. That would be an actual shipping container that had all gym equipment inside of it that you could pull out during the day into a park so people could work out and you could put back at night so it's secured. And they didn't make it through to the finalist stage or become a winner, but somebody else saw that idea on the website, became very excited and passionate about it, and actually asked us for to put them in touch with that individual, and they ended up funding the idea. So the individual that submitted the container gym idea got the funding to actually build out their idea. So we do see these kind of collisions happen by putting ideas out there, and we hope to see more of that.
Great. And our last question comes from Javier, who wants to know that as he's developing his idea and getting ready to submit it, where he can find additional resources or additional help.
So that website, ideas.rmiami.org, you're going to find lots of great resources. Once you log on, at the top, you'll see an About link, which gives you information about the Public Space Challenge, but you'll also see an FAQ, as well as a link to workshops and resources. So you'll be able to find, all kinds of questions that have come through over the last several years, and some additional resources that you can use in coming up with your idea. But one of the things that I would definitely encourage folks to do is come to one of the workshops, either the creative workshops or the Design Thinking Miami workshop. You'll be able to sort of experience what going through the idea, an idea submission and brainstorm would be like, but you'll also be able to talk to other folks and get some insight that you might not otherwise get.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we have.
Great. Well, thank you all for participating on the webinar today. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for your interest in the Public Space Challenge. We hope to see your ideas out there on the site. We'd love to see you commenting and liking the other ideas that are out there. Please come on out to one of our workshops, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Oh, and one last big thanks to our sponsor, Target, and to Miami-Dade County Department of Parks, Recreation, and Open Spaces for their partnership in this year's challenge. Thank you.